ranked, so I just needed some help.
Sure, sure. How long you been playing Overwatch as a whole?
Probably since it started.
Mm-hmm. Ball one trick.
Yeah, I mean, I used to play Soldier quite a bit, and then I just pivoted to Ball and
What
just pretty
changed?
much just one tricking him.
What changed?
Um, I feel like to climb DPS, you got to play a whole lot more than what I play. So tank was like you didn't have to be super mechanically skilled to climb. You just had to kind of understand the game a little bit better. And
Sure.
obviously, if you had good mechanics, it helped. But
Okay, sure. So you are kind of looking for something to be able to enjoy the game, make progress, but not necessarily be able to put in the same amount of hours that like let's say a DPS.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Now it's odd that you went for ball.
yeah, I
Because if you're talking
know.
about like mechanically demanding characters, that is one of the most.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, my question for you then is how have you been enjoying ball? Do you feel like you've been able to make progress? And when you said you've hit a bit of a brick wall, what has the brick wall looked like?
It's like it's probably like 50-50. So like I'll win 50%, I'll lose 50%, but even when I'm playing well, I can lose. If I'm playing well, I can win. Like I feel like there's a whole lot of games where I'm doing a lot and I can't I feel like I don't have as much sway in the end result sometimes.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. And what kind of circumstances make you feel like that? Is there anything in particular, or does it just feel kind of random?
No, I mean I know mechanically I make mistakes, so like that's definitely part of
But
it. And then the
beyond
other
that,
piece is like
obviously.
I don't know how to help enable my team so much.
Hmm. Now, when you say enable, what do you mean enable exactly?
Um, like make plays, I guess.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Would you hope to get out
Like
the
it's
session? No, go ahead. Finish your thought there.
no, I was just gonna say like the games go one of two ways. Like it's either I'm playing well and the team is the chat is positive, or we're losing and the chat is just super negative.
Right,
So
right. Now, obviously, you're not necessarily. That's not going to change.
no, I can't change that part. I just
Right. All right. Here's what I'm. Here's what I can tell you. Here's what I can tell you. If we look at your wrecking ball, there's one of two things that are going to happen. We hope both things happen, but this is the goal. Number one, you're going to figure out what you need to do better. You're going to improve at those skills, and then you're going to hit the official mechanical brick wall, where with the amount of time that you're playing, even if you were like literally robotic, laser focused, super, you could only get so much better, right?
mhm.
Now, I'm seeing on your form it says a couple hours. What does that mean? Is that daily, weekly? Like how many hours per
Kind of
week are we
depend. It
getting?
depends on the week. Like
Give me a
recently, it
ballpark.
hasn't
Give
been
me
a
the fluctuation then. Like, is it anywhere from 2 to 10 or what?
yeah, 2 to 10 seems reasonable. Like
Okay.
yeah,
So I can give you just a total ballpark estimate that depending on how often the 10 happens and how often the 2 happens, we could probably, like, low masters is probably like where your ceiling is for playtime right now.
which is perfect. Like I'm happy in low masters.
Right. But why are you happy in low masters?
Um, because I feel like you get a little bit higher. So I made GM during one of the seasons where I think rank inflation happened, and the games were a lot more sweaty. Like I don't necessarily want to go into a game that's super sweaty. Like I want it to be competitive, but I don't want it to let the whole team to be focused on like each individual player and how they're doing, but specifically me because I don't know
Sure,
that I can always
sure,
keep up in a GM game.
sure. Now, you said interestingly enough that everyone's ranks were inflated. So was it really GM? If so,
Yeah,
if
no, probably not. I
so,
mean,
so
there
then
were
so
games
then
where I
why
played
did
with the
it?
streamers,
So then
so
why
there
did
was
it? Yeah. So you were like at least were higher than where you are now.
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Obviously they just have to be careful of the psychology that we tend to paint everything in a rosy picture. If we like being a GM, then we're more likely to feel like all the GM games were good, right?
yeah,
I do agree with you that when I climbed from bronze to GM way back in 2018, the quality of game definitely got better. I mean, it
yeah.
just factually got better. Now, it was not significantly better, but it was definitely noticeably better, even going from something like plat to GM. There were fewer leavers, fewer rage quitters. Generally, people were a little bit more flexible like the attitude wasn't quite as bad. And it makes sense, right? Like people that are going to tilt and maul are generally not going to get good at the video game. That's just how it
Right,
goes.
right.
But I will say that I wouldn't say it was like night and day. So just keep that in mind. And then, like you said, there's also the added pressure of having to perform as well. Now,
Yeah.
so all that being said, I'm not poo-pooing your goals. I just want you to kind of be aware of, like, be reasonable with what, your expectations are. So
Yeah.
Masters is possible. You're saying that I would think the quality of games would be higher in Masters. Therefore, I want to go to Masters, and that makes sense. Now the question is when I said there's two things, right? One of those is that we're going to get you to higher rank. The second thing that we're going to do is both a blessing and a curse. If I can help you to understand the game better, you're going to have more awareness of how much you suck. And
I'm
that is
okay
both
with that.
okay. I'm telling you that is something that I'm very familiar with doing my job, because I play the game not all that much. Recently, I've been playing a little bit more, but I'll do like pugs like once every couple of weeks, and I'll do quick play like once a week for like an hour or so. And I'm like, I'm okay, but I am much worse than I know. Like I know things and I can't do them, right? So
I
as
have
long as you're
no
okay with that.
illusion. Yeah, I have no illusion that I'm good at this game. Like I know that there's things that I need to work on. Like I don't ever go into a game and think that I'm the best player in that game.
Okay. Well, but I don't either, but it still frustrates me that I can't do exactly what I
Oh,
know I
for
should
sure.
be
For
doing.
sure.
Right.
Yeah,
So
for
just
sure.
as long as you're okay with that, I'm about to give
Yeah.
you the curse of knowledge. So, okay.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll look at your gameplay. We'll give you some goals to work on. We'll talk about how we can min-max. Now, talk to me a little bit about your training schedule. I'm going to assume that most of that is outside of your control, but there might be some things that we can slowly improve. What is your general training schedule? What does it look like when you don't play a lot? What does it look like when you do play a lot? Is it strictly work-related, IRL? Give me
Yeah.
all the details on that if you can.
It's pretty much around my work schedule. So if I can get a few games between the end of work and like the rest of my life activities, like 5 to 6, I'll usually just hop into a quick competitive game, no warm up. If I'm playing on the weekends and I have time, like I'll definitely do some aim training to warm up, and then I'll maybe play a quick play game or two, and then jump into competitive.
So you're saying basically some days I don't have time to do anything else. I just jump into ranked, essentially,
Yep.
immediately.
Yep.
And you're getting like one game in?
Maybe one or two.
Okay. And then the weekends when you have more time, you are finding time to get like a 30, 40-minute warm-up between aim training and quick play, and then getting to
Yeah.
rank for how long? An hour or two?
Yeah, maybe 2 or 3, depending on the day.
Okay, perfect. What I will say for you to clean that up, I don't want you to be playing quick play, if possible.
Okay.
Unless that's like a really, really important part of your schedule that you really enjoy.
No.
Try something else. Here's what I would recommend. What I would try is either... No, actually, this is what I would try. Try this instead. Go into a custom game, set your cooldowns to 0, and roll around for 5 minutes.
I mean, that's pretty much, yeah, that probably makes more sense, because that's what I'm basically doing in the quick play games is just trying to figure out rollouts and things like that.
Pretty much. And always try and choose the map where you're like, I don't really know what map. I'm bad with my rollouts in this map, or last time I played this map, I was kind of lost. Like, try that. Then what I would recommend is I would recommend either doing a deathmatch, like an unranked deathmatch. I know people are going to be mad at you for playing ball, but just they can deal with it. Or if you feel really like honest and you want to speed the time up, go into Vaxta and just track for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's my normal go-to warm-up.
But 3 minutes, like really short, because you're only going to be doing your tracking. There's no slamming, there's no grapple roll throughs, there's nothing, like you're not warming yourself up mechanically through that. So you get your rollouts and stuff from your custom game, and then you get your actually aim practice from Vaxta, and then you just go in game. It's not optimal, but there really isn't a great warm-up for ball, sadly. A lot of the flanker characters like Tracer Genji, outside of deathmatch, there's not a lot you can do. So yeah. There's just, when you're combo oriented, you just can't practice that backside.
Right.
You just can't.
Right.
Okay. Other thing I'd say as well is, maybe if you've seen some of my other videos, I recommend taking breaks while you're in queue, just getting up and walking around for 30 seconds. I would recommend that for you as well.
Okay.
Beyond that, that's how you maximize your time. There's nothing else that you can really do. Okay. Goals. Goals are ranking up. We talked about goals, I guess, a little bit already. To understand if there are any changes I should make to my play style if I join a team compared. Okay. So, team. Talk to me about that. Is that an actual goal?
So we have a small group of players that we play with, and the Face It League seemed like fun, but we got to try and find 5. To be honest, we have 4 right now. We're trying to find 5.
Only adjustment that you need to make with team play is, I assume that you're not a big shot caller in ranked.
Oh my God, no! I pretty much mute my mic just so that I don't have to
Yeah, ball OTP, and
Hear the
I
complaints.
understand.
Yeah.
Trust me, I OTP'd ventured recently, and yeah, I got my share of abuse.
Yeah.
Somebody told me, yeah, I won't repeat it. Basically,
No,
long story
yeah,
short,
I'll listen to the team chat, but I won't say anything.
what I would recommend is the only thing that you need to do is say, guys, I'm going in.
Okay.
Now, that's going to be a little bit tricky because, as I'm sure you're familiar, Wrecking Ball cycles are pretty frequent. Like, it's not
Yeah.
like a Winston goes in, a Winston goes out. You're like in and bait and then out and then over, and you're kind of like in and out, in and out, in and out, right? But if you could just call every single time, like 2 seconds before you commit, that would be very helpful for team play.
Okay.
The most important call. That's probably not the only call you need to make. But yeah, if you do get there, just good to know that.
Okay.
Mechanics are a weakness of yours. We talked about how you can work with that. Kind of what you're already doing, but just about min-maxing your efficiency is the real key thing. Sleep looks good. Yeah, I don't really have any other questions. Do you have any other questions?
Nope.
All right, should be the replay code.
Okay. This is probably a stupid question, actually. You said min-maxing. I've heard that before, but I have no idea what that
It
means.
just basically means getting the absolute maximum out of the absolute minimum.
Okay. Okay.
So right now you're at a point in time where you don't have a lot of time to commit. So what can we squeeze out of the minimum amount of time to get maximum results?
Got it.
Now I'm going to assume, number one, that you have at least maybe a couple of questions or maybe some problematic matchups or maybe some playstyle questions that haven't come up. If so, now would be a good time.
Yes. I mean, Sombra is tough. I feel like if I'm the aggressor on Sombra, I do a whole lot better. If I wait for her and just play around her, then I struggle.
Yeah, Sombra's a weird one. I actually find Sombra to be a little bit easier to play around. Once
Agreed.
you kind of understand the matchup than something like a Cassidy, and here's why. So, Cast Grenade doesn't really have a very proactive use. So Cassidy can kind of just hold an off angle and like never use his grenade and still be like 99% effective, right?
Yeah.
The problem with that is then the second that you try to do anything proactive, he bags you and then you die, right?
Yep.
With Sombra,
Yep.
if she's sitting in her own backline peeling you off, she's not doing, she's like 40% value, 50% value,
Yep.
right? So it's for her to save hack for you and only you, she loses a lot of value, which it's not fun to play into, but you can feel good knowing that, hey, I'm denying her value.
Yeah. Okay.
Other heroes are a little bit rougher. But yeah, like you said, putting her on the back foot is really, really important. And then if you've contained the Sombra, then you no longer need to worry as much about being the hard carry. You could just play for disruption and distraction, excuse me, instead of having to like hard commit every time. Because again, if she's sitting in her backline, she's not useful. She's not harassing your backline. She's not harassing off angles. She's not even building EMP very quickly. You could just kind of play. You could focus on just playing around her CC and not necessarily trying to carry.
Okay.
I think the same thing goes. Go ahead.
Sorry. Hog was another one who I just like.
Yep.
I kind of ignore him. I don't know what else to do.
You can't do anything to Roadhog at all.
Yeah.
And again, if he does try to put emphasis on you, he's a little bit like Sombra, where if the Roadhog's trying to chase you around, that like Sombra, he is losing value. It's not fun. It's definitely a tough matchup, but he is throwing if he's basically sitting in his own backline trying to peel you off. Because basically your entire team has the entire map and is under zero pressure.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like, I think basically the way to look at ball is that you have a psychological, like, okay, one of the things that I've talked about recently is like, what is a tank? A tank is somebody who disrupts, distracts, and abuses psychology. That's what makes a tank different than other DPS characters. A Widowmaker is threatening, but a Widowmaker is the opposite of psychology, right? Of psychological advantage, because she's small, she's hard to see, she's a long way away. So people tend to ignore her at the risk of their death, right?
Yep.
You are the opposite of that. You are loud, you are proud, you are up in their face, and you're the first thing that people are going to counterpick. So you need to abuse that by thinking and trying to be that disruption distraction, but you also need to have, you need to swallow the bitter pill and be like, okay, well, sometimes that means that my job is psychological warfare and not necessarily to be the guy popping off all the time, especially once those counterpicks start to roll around. I mean, the fact that they are counterpicking you, they wanted to play A, but you made them play B.
Yep.
And a lot of times they're not even good at those characters. So you need to abuse that.
Yep.
Okay, that's the most important thing with ball. And then add the more counters that they throw in, the more in tune to those counters you need to be. Like you need to be fully dialed in and distracting, disrupting, to harass. Well, there was a Yeetle video posted recently where it was on Eisenvaldi and he was playing into cast
Just saw
break
a little bit of it.
But if you notice that they were like, as bad as that game was, the cart was moving.
Right.
And they're winning fights. And I think it was Seeker and Genji or something. They're winning the fights, right? Like that's the kind of stuff. Sombra, I think, was also sitting in the backline on high ground, not at all disrupting. Like that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about, right? It's like you have to suffer. But the way that you approach things is, I wouldn't say there's a different play style with ball. There's just levels of greed, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like how greedy are you going to commit with your cooldowns versus just harass and so on. So, okay. The nice thing with ball is you can harass isolated targets, but if the targets are grouped up, all of your abilities benefit from being grouped up. Slam, grapple, mines, adaptive shields, everything as well. So you're very flexible depending on the situation. I'm not as familiar with how to utilize things like the new grapple lowered cooldown or the what is it called? The pull, what is it called?
Yeah, I haven't even tried to figure that out yet.
Yeah, the main thing that you'll need to know with retract, that's it. The retract is that it can change the angle of your grapple. This is something that you need to be trying. So for example, if I'm swinging here, let's say I grapple here, normally if I tried to swing through, I'd just slam into the rock, right?
Right.
But what you could do is you could swing, retract, and actually retract the grapple such that you can actually fireball right through here.
Yep.
That's very important. It can change the angle and allow you to fireball in a lot of spots that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do. Also allows for some obviously easy fireballs when and where that's appropriate.
Yep.
By the way, any other questions? I realize we just kind of zoomed in.
No, I think that's good.
Why this VOD?
Because I think I played okay and we lost. Like I know that there's mistakes and you'll see them and I'll probably call them out.
We've already made a mistake.
Running right through after our Mercy is dead.
Well, no, because you maybe you can disrupt or distract or whatever. But the question is if you are looking to engage here, why are you setting up here?
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? So your default rollout should be to preserve and conserve cooldowns and at least have the element of surprise with how you're approaching. So if you're more often than not going to be engaging here in Blizzard World, and the answer is obviously yes, then why are you not here?
Okay, yeah.
Or here or anywhere else. Something to consider.
Yep.
Probably an unnecessary adaptive shield as well. When should you adaptive shields early?
If there's 5, I guess, and they're looking at me.
So you gave part of the correct answer, which is more targets equals better shields, right? But that's actually the least important factor to consider. The more important factor to consider is how much damage are you about to take?
Mm-hmm. Right now, none. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a BAP, there's a Widow, and there's a Fury, and Widow can't see my head, so
right. There's no CC here. There's nothing to worry about at all. So don't adaptive shields.
Okay.
Don't adaptive shields. Because the concern here is that you're not going to be having enough attention baited to actually utilize the shields that you've given. Like right now, you could do all sorts of stuff. You could have grappled deeper, slammed, whatever, and then now use your adaptive shields when you're actually in combat. Instead, what ended up happening is your adaptive shields goes from that's about 200 shields, and it expires.
Yep.
That's the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. Okay. So first off, staging. I think also at this point in time as well, given their comp, what should you be doing with this grapple?
Use it on Widow when I can.
Sure. Okay. How should you set up your engage?
I don't know.
Think about it for a second. Because this is your skill as Wrecking Ball isn't just like your macro fundamentals, because otherwise I would be a great Wrecking Ball player because I understand the character well. My problem is I'm very bad in the moment deciding how to use my cooldowns, right? Like what's the advanced strategy? Like you could grapple and roll through, but I could also grapple here and slam here. Or I could, do like a jump slam off of this wall and then grapple away. Like I don't make those decisions quickly enough. Well, you need to. So you tell me, what's the optimal way to maximize your damage here?
I feel like looking at their comp, there's minimal CC. I mean, Sig
There's
can
nothing.
rock me,
There's nothing.
but
Right.
so I could use the grapple just to kind of roll through. I don't need it to necessarily escape.
Exactly. Exactly. So what should you do with your grapple here?
Just keep rolling through.
Roll through, and I've got one better than you. You should grapple here, you should go up, and then you should slam.
Okay.
You have no reason to save a cooldown here. Not with the HP that you're at, and not with versus the comp. You're 100%
Okay.
right. This is way too conservative of an engage. And the thing with Wrecking Ball is if this comp doesn't counter you, it counters your team. Look at your comp. You see your Pharah? You see your Bastion? This comp destroys your composition, except for you. So it is now your responsibility to punish the attention that your DPS are going to be getting. Now that was clean. Why? Because you used one cooldown, got 50-50, 50-50 again, then a slam.
Yeah.
And not only a slam, but a slam on the best target you could possibly be slammed.
Yep.
It's great. The problem is that you didn't do enough damage in the first 10 seconds of the fight, and you wait until the back 10 seconds of the fight to actually do damage. So your engages could have been greedier, your staging could have been better. That's mostly it. Also the adaptive shield as well.
Yep.
And then here, this is a waste of time. Respectfully. What could you do versus a Sigma?
Nothing. This is where I struggle, I think, is like, do I jump on point and stall, or do I just keep staying in the back line?
Stall when it is the absolute priority. When you're on
okay,
death's
so give
door.
them a
two ticks.
Tick or two.
Yes.
Okay.
You win the fight. This fight's winnable. If you kill this Widow or Bap here, which you can, this fight is still winnable. If you go back, this fight is no longer winnable, and you've given space to Baptiste, to the Widow, taking a lot of damage, and giving that Widowmaker the silent that she needs for free.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that you went for the Kiriko and not the Sigma, but that's like saying you got a C plus and not a D, right? This is great. And see, even here, you could min-max. So like, you have grapple and, not slime here, excuse me, you have grapple. What should you do right here?
Roll through and then maybe come back.
Yes, you should hold the grapple. You should grapple here, then roll back, and then roll back. And don't forget the grapple, I believe, lasts longer now, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could do all sorts of crazy stuff. So grapple, bam, 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 bam.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you could greed that even further. Again, no CC, so you don't need to be doing a run through. And do you see what you used as well?
Yeah, that is definitely a tendency that I would imagine we're going to see quite a bit, is me using my shields too frequently when I don't need them.
It's hard, though, because as somebody who hasn't... Look at Baptiste. As somebody who's played into, I'm sure, Cassidy's and Anna's and Briggs stacks.
That's exactly right.
You have to use the adaptive shields like that, otherwise you die.
Yeah.
Right? Baptiste, it's like a freaking zombie coming on. But yeah, this is tough.
I think I'm so used to just playing against hard counters that my playstyle doesn't necessarily change when it should.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously, again, grapple here as well.
Yeah.
Probably very important that you hold that grapple. And this is also where if your grapple is going too far, I think you're going for the low HP Sigma, but just for the sake of argument, you could grapple here, retract the grapple to hit the Baptiste, right? Okay. I don't even know if you need to hit the Baptiste, but you definitely could. Get him.
Oh, I screwed it up. Okay.
That's all right. You get there. Nice job. But see, it would be really easy to look at this and be like, oh, you know, you did fine, you're doing damage, you're not feeding. But the reality of the situation is that just because they're not counterpicking you doesn't mean that the pressure isn't on you. The pressure is always on you, either to live or to actually do stuff.
Yep.
Where should you be right now?
I could probably be in that side piece, that little side room where you were showing me to start the map.
How do you get there from here?
Roll back through.
You could, or you could also just go this way.
Okay, just go under.
And do the exact same thing and then do what you just did before.
Okay.
Because right now there's nothing happening. You have about 5 seconds. Quick.
Right.
Chop, chop, chop. This what you're doing right now is meaningless. This is how you lose a lot of HP.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for cooldowns to come back.
Right. One of the terms that I like to use a lot with my Wrecking Ball players is downtime for uptime. What that means is that you utilize these little windows where you're not, I wouldn't say vulnerable, but not useful to set up for your next engage.
Okay.
Especially important versus high CC comps because you can roll through, they all look at you, and they just hide for 1 second, then go right back in again, and then go back in again. But even in situations like this, like you are getting 15, 20 damage, taking 200, and compromising your next engage.
Yeah.
Target priorities look quite good, though, for the most part. With the exception of that one time we won on point, but obviously that's been, for the most part, pretty fine. Like right now, as soon as you see this, what should you do immediately?
Just back up.
Right, as soon as he's disengaged and you are no longer going to be able to secure the kill, get out.
Yeah.
Why are you about to die? Let's watch. Let's watch. People are shooting you. You know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
There's the adaptive shields.
Yeah.
So then when you really wanted to commit, which honestly it's a high risk play, let's not lie here, but I understand the value. Like this makes sense. This is not a bad mines. It's a bad mines because you don't have adaptive shields. And then obviously, like, if you really wanted to be smart about it, no shields, you don't slam. You just roll through.
Okay.
Drop the mines and peace out.
Yep.
Okay. It's weird to look at this and be like, you're throwing, because you're like, I'm doing a lot, right? But again, remember, the responsibility is, of course you're doing a lot.
Yeah,
look at their comp, right? There's nothing there. Like, of course you're doing a lot. Like, it's your Pharah that's the one under pressure here, right? And your Iliari and Mercy and so on. So, okay, the Reaper's dead. Thank you. The only thing I'd say here is where, again, here, like, once you're here, don't waste your time. You see this? This is wasted time.
Yep.
So, now, should your Iliari have died? No. Should your Reaper have died? No, that's their fault, not yours. But you should be hitting now.
Yep.
Right? As opposed to where you are before.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, it's just a mechanical mistake, but you did the right thing. You had a great angle. You saw a passive static target with CC. So what do? You whip out the guns. You laser him in the head. There's half her HP. She panics. This is your free opportunity. So how should you approach this one?
I should have hit her with the one roll through and then just gone up to the ledge and slammed her.
Yep.
Like I should have walked off that ledge and slammed her right there.
Yep. So what ends up happening is then you end up using adaptive shields unnecessarily. Right. I think you were trying to greed your slam there, which is understandable, but it's such a low cooldown. Just go.
Okay.
Just go. But again, I appreciate the fact that you were trying to approach that duel intelligently, and it definitely paid off.
Yeah.
Downtime for uptime. Get set up for next fight. Let's go. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this.
I'm not in a good spot.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
If I was in a better setup position, do I take the 1v1 with Tracer?
Yes. If you are setting up and she is on the same off angle, she will be a severe nuisance to you.
Yeah.
So you have to. Let me put it this way. If the Tracer does her homework and does something good, you have to counter the good thing.
Yeah.
But if the Tracer is like avoiding you or just playing main or not in the way, then just ignore.
Okay.
Adaptive shields, but other than that,
we didn't need them.
Definitely didn't need them. But other than that, it's good. I like the target priority as well. I think the Life Weaver is the better target here. Downtime for uptime. Don't go back just yet. Good. Drop the mines if you want to. Oh, you missed a slam.
Oh, I should have slammed. I should have slammed and then I wasted mines.
That's okay. Well, I feel like, again, it's psychological with you. I feel like this is where, like, you're thinking too peel-oriented.
Yeah.
Just a little
I'm just so used to being countered that I mean, look at their hit by the sun. If I had slammed them, they would have been dead.
This is a lost fight for them. Yeah. They've just used pull as well, and so that's they're cooked.
Yeah.
So you're like, it kind of feels like you're just kind of meandering around, but remember, your job is to kill people. Your job is not to peel. You're not built for that.
Yeah.
Just a mechanical failure there. It's fine. This fight's probably lost, I would say.
I think we do lose that fight, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back a little bit. I'd actually like to skip ahead here just in the interest of time. If we have time to go back, I'd like to go back, but I want to
Yeah.
see them. Do you have another VOD where they play counters?
I
If
mean,
not,
to be
it's
honest,
fine.
I haven't been playing very much recently. I don't
That's
know that
fine.
I've played
If not, it's
against hard
fine.
counters.
If not, it's fine. But if possible, I would like to look at one.
Let me load up the game real quick and see if I have
Sure.
anything.
Sure.
I feel like they finally made a change to ball, and I've had like 0 time to play since the new patch.
That's fine. Really, if it's fine if we don't, I just figured I think that would be a useful
Right.
little
Yeah,
layer
yeah.
to add to our coaching here, because I think we have certainly enough stuff that's actionable from what we've seen already.
Yeah. Oops. Hold on. There's a way to see what they're playing, right? If I go to game reports or something.
Yeah. I mean, you could
Yeah, I
also
think
just
I
pull up
found
the replay code and just like look at like the first comp immediately that you see and
it.
be
Okay.
like, because you might remember, you might go, oh yeah, they played.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything where they
That's
played a
fine.
hard counter. Okay.
Let's keep going. Let's just keep going chronologically.
Okay.
That work for you?
Yep.
What I will say though is if you ever do get stuck, I'll give you a couple of brief. I think we've already talked a little bit about it. Basically, your idea is that you just approach more cautiously and play more to disrupt and distract. It's
Yep.
not that you don't carry or that you're not allowed to play the game. It's that you have to play a different game.
Yep.
You will distract the enemy team just as much as you're doing right now. It's going to result in more cooldowns being forced and less kills
Okay.
directly. So you soaking damage and absorbing things and living is really important. One of the things that becomes even more important, like I said earlier, is the downtime for uptime, where you roll through and you may not even shoot.
Mm-hmm.
You just run. And you see the hinder just go whizzing past you like a firefly, you know what I'm saying? And then you roll here, and then you shoot. They look at you again, you hide, you grapple, roll through again, you slam, and then you immediately duck behind cover with adaptive shields. Like that's kind of like what you're doing. You try to your mindset is like you're not even playing Overwatch anymore. You're playing CC Watch. It sucks, but that's where you're at right now.
You know what? I actually have a game against Cass that we lost that could be a
let's
decent
take
one.
a
And I
look.
know I
Let's
didn't
take-
play well, but let's look at that one.
That's okay. That's okay. If there's anything that's like, oh, I don't normally do that, then we can just
Yeah.
ignore that. But maybe we can at least talk about that matchup.
I think my aim is horrible in this game, but
But like I said, we don't really care. It's more like using it as a backdrop for our discussion. I'd also recommend if you really are struggling, I have a lot of other Wrecking Ball VODs out there, and most of them are versus counters for obvious reasons. So
I've definitely watched a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Just take a look at like. I think also like that's where like self-review can really helpful too, because you can go back and be like, oh yeah, how to like for example like right now, shooting venture fine, this is fine, but like when you engage here, like what do you think of this?
I don't hate it because I'm 2v1ing a healer and a BTS.
I agree.
And then Tracer comes in and helps too.
To be honest with you, I think that's probably the most important skill that you can develop as a Cassidy. Is just to be able to a Wrecking Ball is the ability to just go back and replay viewer and treat it like a fighting game. Like what combo did I use? What combo should I have used? Like I could point out the error here. Is this right here? Is this right here? Well, you missed cast, but there's no shot that you turn and shoot this. Actually, 0 chance. Ridiculous. You should die for this or lose a ridiculous amount of HP. Why? Because how much damage are you about to do?
Nothing.
Nothing. And how much damage are you about to take?
A lot.
A lot, right? So shockingly, like even this, like it doesn't matter if they're low. You're not going to be the guy finishing it.
Yeah.
Regen, roll through, grab the mini, grapple, roll through again, get the verticality, slam, adaptive shields, rinse and repeat. Your combo character. And see, what ends up happening is you go like, oh, like I didn't really get the slam that I wanted, right? But that's because you were screwing around when you should have already been going in. Like, you
Yeah.
should already be in right now. That's what I'm saying. The downtime for uptime. If you had not shot, you would have already engaged right now.
Hmm.
What do you think about this engage overall, though?
Not bad. I'm behind them, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
roll through
yeah,
a
yeah.
huge chunk of them.
Yep, you're going to hit the squishies right in the noggin. I think the only thing there is I think that you... Wait, does the Venture dodge you? Like, what happens here?
Yeah,
I
somehow
swear
I
you were,
missed the
it looked like
Venture.
you were about to hit two, and then all of a sudden just,
Yeah.
they disappeared. Did you drop
She
the
just walked
grapple?
left. Yeah.
You dropped the grapple.
I
That's
did
what
drop
happened.
the grapple.
You dropped the grapple, yeah. It's not that big of a deal. And then I think you tried to get the jump slam there and didn't quite
I
get it.
did, yeah. And then I scuffed it.
And this is where we know that you're going to lose a lot of HP potentially for doing this, but it's worth it because this guy's won.
Yeah.
And if you get the kill, then
I
you don't lose
missed
a lot
the
of HP.
res. I knew it was coming too, and I tried to hold my grapple just for it, and I still
It's
missed
all right.
it.
It's all right. It's all right. Notice the adaptive shields again.
Yeah, wasted.
Nice. This is really good. See, this is where, like, again, the shooting is just totally wasted, right?
Okay.
Because you look at this and you're like, well, why would I not shoot? You have grapple. You have 800 HP. Go.
Okay.
You know? Like, that's going to be so much more important for you. Because what could you do with your grapple? Okay, again, fighting game. What's the combo?
I mean, I would like to engage in one of those healers.
Sure.
Or
Can't do
roll
it from
through.
here.
Yeah.
Right. You
Yeah.
could roll through. You could drop, roll up, through up, and then get up here. A much better
Yep.
off angle for you to play from. And then when you get your slam, you're good to go.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's just goofy mechanics.
just
But
yeah.
right. So we don't care. We don't care. Like, if I'm more interested in what you didn't intend to do or what you were trying to do, and it was a bad idea and all that kind of crap. You just screw up with grapples, whatever.
Yep.
Okay. Staging. Where do you go? You know who you're going for. You know when you should be going. So where should you come from?
Yeah, you like either roll straight through right here and get to their staircase on the.
Respectfully. You have the time to set up here. You had the time as well. Because if you go this way, you get the mini, you're basically full. What should you do?
I could either loop back around and go
Yes.
behind them
Yes.
through
Yes.
point.
Yes. Why? Why is that? Why am I being so disrespectful to you about that?
Because
Why is
this
that so
character
important?
is basically all about just setup and
Yeah, exactly.
hit.
Like, this is too obvious. This
Yeah.
is going to cause you grief. This is going to get you hindered or like get you shot. It's also going to make people rotate away from where you want them to go because you want to hurt them. If you come
Yeah.
from this way, they're going to stay here, which is going to allow you to get the engage that you want.
Okay.
Right? I think there has to be a level of, even if you're not playing versus counters, there has to be a level of subterfuge. You know what I'm saying? With how you're approaching things. Like, remember, even back with your first point Blizzard World setup, like, you didn't set up, you just rolled right through them.
Yep.
I want to fix that habit when possible.
Okay.
Now, is this purposeful? You're releasing grapple a lot, I noticed.
It is. I mean, I probably should have held it there and just kept going, or gone around that little
Sure.
middle piece and kind of just done a little
Sure.
circle.
Sure. Keep an eye on it. I know it does put it on cooldown faster, so you can get it back faster, but you might have wanted
Yeah.
to maintain a little bit more momentum for longer.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I want you to coach yourself in this engage. Mechanically, what should it be? What do you think?
It's a waste of time to go on Winston. I mean,
Is shooting Winston a bad HP trade for you?
no, it's a good one for me.
But is there a better engage or a better target available right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that at some point I switched to Kiri here.
Sure. I think
but-
from here, I think what you do is fine because you kind of wanted to wait for grapple, I'm sure, to actually go for backline.
Yes.
So in the meantime, trading with a Winston's not too bad. It's okay. Then you immediately pivot to Kiri. Great. As soon as you're close to grapple, which you are now, you need to immediately enter ball form, which you do, and go for your cooldown engage, which you do.
Yeah.
So far, so good, right? You force a Winston down, you trade his HP, you get the slam on Kiri, you get her to half, there's teleport. Great. Now what?
I have one quick question. Is there
Please.
a indicator of where Kiri TPs when she
No.
TPs? I can never find
No,
her
there's not.
after she
There is,
TPs.
there is not. There is not. The
Okay.
only indicator you have is the direction she was looking when she teleported. Because that tells
Okay.
you she obviously can't teleport behind her. So wherever she teleported to was to your right.
I mean, even that helps because yeah, you're right. I never really looked at that to
And
figure out
that's
where she was
exactly where she
facing.
is. Right? She's right
Okay.
there. Okay. So now what?
Now I don't have slam. I do have shield, so I mean, I should find somebody to like isolate.
But how do you but again, fighting game. Give me the details. Give me the specifics.
Um, I mean, I should quickly roll so that I can see somebody, and
Where?
then
From where? How would you use your
like
grapple?
I would probably be on that middle piece, like on the point.
Here?
Yeah, or to where the Winston is.
It's awkward, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
awkward, isn't it? Something to consider here. This might be a situation here where you could either grapple and like do like a little whip and just go wham through there.
Yep.
But I honestly, you ready for a spicy take? If the Cassie's not looking at you, there's a pretty good reason where you could sit here and just shoot him over.
Okay.
You have 80 bullets. If he looks at you and starts like dumping damage on you, then duck behind cover, drop, roll through that way, right?
Okay.
But like right now, this is actually where I would shoot the Cassie because he's not looking at me and you've got a really nice angle on him. And there isn't really an obvious grapple angle, right? So
Yeah,
but
there's not.
this is the level of complexity with this character. I know you know this, right? This isn't anything new for you. But this could be like this is something that you can I really firmly believe that you can practice this.
Okay.
Here's how you practice it. You go into every single engage and ask, what should I do? How should I use my cooldowns? You don't worry about your adaptive shields. You don't worry necessarily about the CC too much. You don't really worry about your ultimates. You don't really worry as much about like your HP management. You just go in like deathmatch. What's the best way I could use my cooldowns? What's the most creative, fun way of doing this? And try it. And you'll get a much better grasp of being able to do that unconsciously. Because you're already pretty good at it. Obviously, you're diamond, right? But this is like this. Like there is nothing to learn from this, right? Your adaptive shields is understandable. You had to use it. Like I feel like you're gonna die here, but you're doing nothing here.
Nothing.
This is good, but you probably should have rolled through.
Yep. Yep.
You probably should have rolled through. Why?
Do an extra little bit of damage on that.
Extra little bit of
pass.
damage. You're gonna do more than 50 damage or less than 50 damage if you pull your guns out early, right?
Yeah.
You roll through, bam, it takes you half of a second, and then you do your gun damage, right?
Yep.
That's going to be a more effective DPS output, as well as putting you on maybe a deeper angle to pull a little attention away from where the rest of your team is. Mines are fine.
I think Cass makes a mistake here. Yeah, he does.
Nice. Nice. Good stuff. So it wasn't perfect from our whole goofy fighting game perspective, but it was all right. Now, we've seen this be an issue with you before. Are you going to stage? Looks like the answer is yes. What's the problem?
I get CC'd.
What's your problem? What do you need to be doing differently here?
I probably could have held grapple and gone up instead of just trying to roll straight through them.
Yep. In addition to that, I think you're a little early here too. Given where the enemy team is positioned and where your team is positioned, let them come out just a tad bit. You got me?
Okay.
But yeah, I agree. So you're saying you would have grappled here, slammed, or slid through and then gotten up here?
Yeah, and if I hold the grapple, then I don't necessarily get CC'd away from the fight.
You got it. Target priority is good. The staging is good. The mechanics, again, the fighting game combo was bad.
Yeah. Yep.
Good. This is where it's just downtime for uptime. Like you're doing nothing of value once Venture enters Burrow.
Yep.
Like you've done your job. As soon as you see this, just peace out.
Okay.
So it's not bad, but it's always a little bit ego there. Ego there, but again, understandable. Why? Because he's won. You almost got the kill there. Nice job. And then now, chill, stage, Don't. This is
Oh, I
so
should have just
stupid.
stayed up
This is
there.
so stupid. It's so
Yeah.
stupid. You're gonna lose so much HP and then you lose your staging. You had the right idea. You just got distracted in the interest of quote unquote
Yeah.
uptime. Uptime is
And
the
then I think I
devil,
go
man.
back
It's
up
the
there,
devil.
whereas if I just stayed up there, I wouldn't have had to
You
waste
got it.
another cooldown.
I mean, frankly, here, this is where we talk a little bit about CC, maybe for the first time.
Yeah.
Is here, I don't know if I slam here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I don't
Yeah.
know if I adaptive shield, and I don't know if I slam. I think I do my whole, grapple, retract, land up here, because you know that Hinder's coming.
Yeah, I think this is just greed. I think I just see
I
three
think so
people
too.
to slam.
I think what's happened is that you haven't, Cassie hasn't used Hinder like this entire game. And so
Right.
you're just like, oh, I can do whatever I want here. But like, I think looking at this objectively, probably better to just use the grapple, get the boop, take high ground, shoot a little bit from here,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then what? And then what? I'll let you take it from here.
Well, if I hadn't wasted shields, or I could have slammed and then shields, shoot.
Yeah. You could even shoot a little bit, see what if you get the hinder. If you don't get the hinder, fine. Wait like 1 second, 2 seconds until you're close to grapple. Then slam, shields, shoot a little bit. If hinder comes out, you don't care because you're about to have grapple again.
Okay.
Right? But yeah, exactly. Like even the fact that you shot there is a little bit cheeky. And that's gonna kill you.
And then I think, yeah. Oops,
I should have killed you.
Yeah, I should have died.
Yeah, and it's just as bad as dying almost. Because
Yeah.
now you're pulling double heal resources instead of
Yeah.
like actually your team using them elsewhere, and you're so far out of this fight,
Yeah,
and you've
that's fair.
misused your mines and so on.
Yeah, it was a panic. I was just like, well,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna die, then I should zone the point.
And it all comes from the fight strategy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, how was I going to use my combo in this situation? That's what makes Ball such a rewarding character to play, because really, there aren't many characters that have that level of nuance, you know? To where you could, like, there's, like, literally 4 different things you can be doing all the time. And not just 4 different things, 4 different, often good things, right? Like, if I asked 4 different Wrecking Balls how they'd approach this fight, someone would have said wrap around behind, some would have said just grapple to high ground, some would have said just grapple slam now, save your adaptive shields, absorb the cooldowns, rinse out. Some would have said go up here and shoot first. Some would have said go up here but don't shoot at all. Some would have said, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they all would have been fine.
Yep.
So you get to just experiment with it. Nice. Again, downtime for uptime. You see that? As soon as they're invulnerable, you're out. And
Yep.
look at your HP. You're basically back to full. Probably don't
And
need
the
adaptive
shield.
shields for the
Yeah.
engage that you're doing here.
Yeah.
Now, you probably need your shields for the engage you're doing here, but I
Yeah.
don't think this is very smart, given Hinder.
Yeah.
I'd rather you bait the cooldown if you can. Only commit to it when you haven't successfully baited it. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Good? Don't shoot. Don't shoot.
Okay.
You force the fade here.
Yep.
You've smacked the Moira. You don't have shields. You don't have the HP. Is the Moira 1 HP?
No.
No. So screw off. Roll through, grab the mini, come back later.
Okay.
You see the mistake there?
Yeah. Yep.
Always consider, like, am I getting bang for my buck? Is it worth the expense of what I'm paying for it?
Yep.
All right, let's fight and game this. I think you get res here. Okay, let's yeah, you do. Okay, so sure. Ooh, look at that. A little bit of greed. Now, did you need to adaptive shields?
Let's see who's back there. Cass, Alari. No, I probably didn't yet, especially because only 1 or 2 of them are looking at me.
Probably didn't. It's not the worst adaptive shields we've seen yet, just given the number of targets around you
Yeah.
and the hinder, but probably not necessary. What do you think of this?
She's low. I feel like this is good.
Is anybody looking at you?
No. Oh yeah, I
That's-
definitely didn't need shields here.
Right? Well, okay, no, I'm talking more about the shooting, right?
Oh.
Right? We'd already talked about the shields. We'll move on. You shooting here. She's low, but again, she's not looking at you. So just keep shooting,
Yeah. Okay.
right? You kind of need to anticipate if they're going to look at you, obviously. But like here,
Yeah.
if she's not looking at you, it's 3 damage. You might as well, because you don't have your grapple yet, so just shoot. Then they look at you. Then you enter ball form, right?
Yep.
You notice that? That's
Yep.
what we want to see. Good. I feel like this is where you need to be holding grapple again.
Okay.
Just because that Cassie is distracted, and I see this right here, what would you do with your grapple?
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was a little. I wish I'd grappled from a little further away. But yeah, you're right. I could swing through and then swing back, just do a 180.
Ba-boom, ba-boom,
Right.
ba-boom, drop mine somewhere in there. And at that point, you don't even need to worry about hinder because it's just
Okay.
the amount of carnage that you're going to do is
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
especially with your mines, is not necessary.
Yeah.
Do it. Obviously, a little awkward. I think you're expecting the
So
slam and
awkward,
didn't quite have it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Little mistakes like that happen. Like that, it's
Yeah.
the level of detail that is required. Stop shooting right now, immediately. Don't shoot this target.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing it to farm my ult, but I just probably shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't. It's not worth it. It doesn't. Farming your ult is not worth enough, and also
Yeah.
tanks feed less ult charge as well. But yeah, this is strictly. I wouldn't even say. I will say it's a mechanical failure. Strictly
Yeah.
mechanical failure,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
not from your aim. It's just your approach is just totally wrong in terms of
Yeah.
how you're approaching things. So let's bring some method to the madness here, because I think that you're doing a lot of things correct. I think your target priority is good. I think you have your mechanics aren't that bad. Like you're clearly at the rank that you belong with the mechanics, the way that you're approaching things. You're not throwing cooldowns in the garbage over and over and over again. There's just some nuance that you're missing here. What are some things you need to be practicing or thinking about more?
Well, definitely when to use shields.
To use
And then
shields, gauge.
are there scenarios where I can hold grapple for longer and go twice or 3 times through the enemy?
Gauge enemy CC threat. Okay, all right. When can I hold a grapple for extra boops disruption? When enemy CC. Again, gauge enemy CC threat. Because that's the same thing, right? Like shields,
Yeah.
CC threat, don't hold grapple with CC threat, more of a roll through. Okay,
Yep.
what else?
When to shoot enemies and when to just get back in ball form and get out.
When to shoot versus when to just ball form.
Yep.
Gauge enemy CC threat. Okay. And finally, there's one more thing we talked about, which I think is irrelevant to the enemy CC threat, which was the staging
Set up, yeah.
pre-fight.
Yeah.
Taking time to set up on angles, flanks, when downtime for better engages. A lot of things I think you're doing well. Any questions? I know we're a little bit of a time crunch here.
No, this has been super helpful.
Perfect.
So thank you.
I know we're in a little bit of time crunch, so what I want you to do is obviously go practice these things one at a time. I think I would recommend practicing these things one at a time. Don't try and do them all at once. Treat everything like a combo. Like, what combo should I have done here? Feel free to look at things in self-review. And then obviously if any questions come up, just message me. All right?
Perfect.